All right, by now you guys are probably wondering, what the hell are you doing to it now? Well, I removed the intake manifold, removed the rail, throttle body. I mean, pretty much everything that's right here. The reason I did that is because I want the car to be perfect. Perfect. I don't want any leaks. I don't want any, little issues that I'm going to regret not fixing right now. So, for example, the car had been leaking oil and I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. All the bolts and the nuts holding the intake manifold to the head were loose. So it's leaking oil through the gasket. And also there was a coolant leak right there. So a little puddle of coolant started leaking, and so I decided, screw it, I'm gonna just take the whole thing apart and just fix it. That way I don't have to worry about it later. Whenever the car's getting to it, I don't have to worry about something, with the high pressure to popping or making it worse. So I'll fix it right now. So I found the coolant leak. You see this hose right here? Well, usually you have an oil cooler. This car has that deleted. It uses one of those little bolts that go in here. You just put the oil filter straight to the block. So the people before me thought it was a great idea to put this hose here. Not that there's anything wrong with using the hose, but I mean, at least make sure it's not pinched, because this is completely pinched. Yeah. So, and it's leaking from right under here. Check this out. See, there's a coolant leak. All right, so it's the next day, and after a long night of researching and kind of going back through all my old footage and going through this mess of parts here, I'm kind of relieved to show you guys this. So regarding that oil that was on the lower intake, thankfully it was literally just on the lower intake. And this car, before I installed the catch can, it did have that PCV valve connected to the intake manifold. So I'm assuming that the PCV valve failed, and then it was spitting out the oil into the intake manifold, which then flowed down into the runners, and that's what was creating the oil. The reason I'm going to assume that's what it was because if you look at my head, it's like super clean. Like very, very clean. Every single one of them. See? Nice and clean and dry. We're gonna see how far we can get with that stock intake manifold, and see if we can get somewhere near a 900 maybe. If we can reach 1,000 horsepower on the stock intake manifold, we'll just keep it. And eventually, once we do build the motor and do everything, I'll switch it out for one of those big ones and go from there. But yeah, I was about to make the purchase, but then it's probably not worth it. And I mean, we have this one, maybe have a little bit of both worlds. I almost made another purchase, but I ended that really quick. I tend to get out of hand really easily. So now, talking about getting out of hand, since I am waiting on the hose, I'm waiting on the new gaskets for the intake manifold and the runners, and that's probably gonna take maybe a week. So you guys see this right here? It says Borg Warner. Yep. But here it is. The reason I got this one is because I showed a video to my wife, and I showed her the way it sounds, and she kind of fell in love with the little turbo whistle. This is a new turbo. It's not too big, but it's gonna do. So we're gonna try and max this turbo out. Maybe get 700-800 horsepower. I'm not sure what these things are maxed out at. Here, let me put it over here for comparison. So we're gonna try to squeeze out as much horsepower as we can out of that thing. And once we max that out, that's whenever my precision turbo for my Supra will get thrown on here. I'll get a big turbo for my car. This car will make 1,000 easy, if not more, on my turbo, and this one's gonna go through the roof. So that is a plan. All right, so I guess I'm due for a little update. So I fixed everything on this side. So I ended up getting a new hose on this side, something that was already kind of pre-bent, and it's actually like perfect. And then I just put a new coolant hose over here. I mean, probably the best thing to do is just delete this one. I don't want to spend no more time getting fittings over here and welding this shut, so I just put another hose in there. Anybody who needs this hose right here, it's actually a bit of a longer hose. It kind of curves out. I mean, it has like some weird bends to it, but this is the part number. It is a Gates coolant hose. All you gotta do is just cut it right where these straight ends, but it fits perfectly. And I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but I took the time and cleaned up the block. It was like super filthy. The car came from El Paso, and apparently there's a lot of sand in El Paso. So I cleaned all this up, and over here on this side, I removed the turbo, and I cleaned the block off on this side as well. Cleaned all the fittings. I mean, it was really disgusting. So cleaned it all off, and now I'm at a point where I can install the intake back on. Basically put everything back on this side. I was gonna go ahead and do an aftermarket intake, but just for testing purposes, we're gonna keep the stock one on there, and we're gonna see how far we can push that stock intake, and then eventually we'll end up changing the intake manifold. Now the turbo, here is the turbo that came off of it. So if you guys see, you see that right there? That's chipped. That's no bueno. So, I mean, it still builds boost. It still spins freely. There's no shaft play or anything. But just the fact that that broke just really didn't make me feel too comfortable. So, here's the replacement. I went ahead and painted the compressor housing just to kind of match up the manifold that's black on the other side. So, I got the drain installed. I had to drill out these holes because apparently Borg Warner has like their own special fitting for the drain. I didn't feel like ordering one, so I just made this work, and there it is. This is what came off of this one. So here's the compressor housing, and it'll go something like that. So there it is. I have to cut off that V-band, and I have to put this new one on here. So as you see, a regular V-band is flat. See? Now for the Borg Warner, they're not flat. I'm not sure if you guys can notice that they're kind of like concave. The part from the turbo looks just like this, so it matches up perfectly. So I gotta cut this off, weld this new one on. So that means, again, gotta remove that, you know, jack the car up. All the work for this car, but it's getting there, almost there. Intake is back on, put back together, new gaskets, new intake manifold gaskets, hoses are all you know, fixed up, everything's tight, so it should not leak. I should be good to go on this side. But right now I was actually just tapping the compressor housing for the vacuum fitting. I'm gonna need that for the boost controller. Now for the younger audience, what a tap is this right here. So basically you drill the proper size hole, which is, in this case, it was this one. I can't remember the size, but I bought it as a kit. So you drill the hole, and then you push this in. Basically you screw this in, you kind of go in and out, and it creates threads in here. That's what this does. And you can install something like this. Turbo's on here. I think it's gonna look pretty good. I like the color, black and silver, and then a red engine bay with the charcoal car. Yeah, it looks great. No, but in all seriousness, I really do like the way it's turning out. I threw the intake on here just to see how it's gonna look. I still have to connect the turbo to the intercooler pipe. I have this one right here. This is, I think, about a, I don't know if it's like a 30 or 45 degree, but it's a bit long. So I'm gonna go through my box of fittings and clamps and stuff and see if I have anything there. If not, I'll just end up trimming this one, and it should fit perfectly. Got the two clamps here, and the downpipe is removed. So I gotta cut the end off, and here's the proper fitting here for the turbo. So gotta basically make another custom downpipe. I guess at this point you can say that I have a everything boosted project, everything. Boosted project downpipe, boosted project mid-pipe exhaust. I built it all. The intercooler piping is on. I had to cut that coupler just a little bit. Turbo drain is done, and it's dark and I'm tired. I got out of work today, uploaded a video to YouTube for you guys, and then came straight out here to work on the car. So pretty worn out. So I'm gonna leave the downpipe for tomorrow. I literally just clocked out, just got out of work, and here I am to my next job. So I got the turbo installed, got the drain installed, everything's bolted up. Also, I cut off the downpipe. I cut off the V-band from the downpipe. All I gotta do is just weld this up. Damn it, I forgot. I was gonna try to take the car for a spin this weekend, but I need the oil feed for this Borg-Warner turbo. Damn it. All right, so I got the downpipe all tacked up. Everything is exactly where it needs to be. I got the purge line going through it. Got a light because my lighting sucks. And that's my welding setup, kitchen table. Whatever you gotta do to make it work, you guys. So I'm gonna get that welded and then just install it on the car. All right, and there it is. It's all welded up. Good solid penetration all the way through. I am not a professional welder, but plenty strong, it'll do. Everything is back to how it was supposed to be. Nice and sealed, no leaks, proper hoses, no more chips on the intake manifold, which at the end of the day, this is probably just gonna be temporary. Like I said, we'll see how much horsepower we can get out of it, and then we'll swap it out. Turbo, same thing. But I think it looks pretty good. So it's just another update video, you guys. I honestly can't wait till I'm able to fire this up. The biggest reason why we went with this turbo is just because of the way it sounds, like the turbo spool sound. It sounds really, really nice. But yeah, one step closer. Now, I got a special delivery here in this box. For those who stayed all the way to the end, I'll show you guys. Ooh. I don't know if you guys know what this is, but it is going to make this car do some gnarly stuff. So y'all stay tuned. Next video is gonna get that installed, some stuff over here installed, that box installed. So yeah, almost done, you guys. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. Okay, later.